Hey everybody, it's Stephen here and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a review of the light novel New Eden.
Light reading reviews.
Now, before we get started, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications of upcoming releases on my channel. Now, I don't just do reviews on this channel, I also do many other things like up and coming light novel and manga releases, unboxings, as well as other content. If it sounds like something you'd enjoy, please check out my playlists. I'm sure there's something there for everybody to enjoy. Now, I don't just do things on YouTube. I also do things on my Instagram and Twitter accounts, so please follow them for upcoming content and other kinds of things you might enjoy. Now, let's get into this. As I said, today we're going to be doing a review on the light novel New Eden. Now, I'm going to try and keep this as spoiler-free as possible. If I do, however, get a bit too overexcited and go into spoiler territory, I will put a tag at the bottom saying spoiler. Hopefully that won't happen, so hopefully you won't see it. But I can go off on tangents because I have that kind of personality, but I will try and keep it to a minimum if at all possible. Now, before we get started, I'll also let you know I was actually sent this book through the post by the author himself. He's actually an English light novel writer, which is actually very rare, but they are starting to become more popular as the genre is actually starting to hit more people in the Western society. Now, as an author, he's actually written the book himself, he's actually done all of the pictures himself, and he's edited it with his family, so it is self-published. So that is an immense amount of work for one person and his immediate family. So first of all, I'd like to give my congratulations to him and everybody in his family for this release and the release of his second light novel. And from my understanding, he's currently working on his third. So what is the book about, you might ask? Well, I thought I'd read the synopsis on the back and give you a quick overview of the book and then get into my thoughts on the actual book itself. So, a world out of his dreams. Is this heaven? No. After an untimely demise, Felix found himself in a strange new world, a world he would soon know as New Eden. A world inhabited by thousands more like himself. It's not at all bad though. Excitement lay around every corner as he began a new life, fighting fears and meeting extraordinary people in a world out of his dreams. But what about those he left behind? So, as you can tell by the synopsis, it's actually an isekai. Now, isekai is very popular in the light novel genre at the moment, and you've probably heard me talking about it because it happens to be a guilty pleasure of mine, and I absolutely love the isekai genre. So for those of you who don't know, isekai is when you get transported through to another world. It can either be you're transported there by God to become the hero of the world. You could die and just be reincarnated as a brand new person. You could end up being summoned as a hero, or you could get lost in a video game world. Now, there's many books like this out there, but each add their own new twist to the genre, so I'm always looking forward to reading new ones and seeing how it actually brings out and improves the current genre. This is no exception. So in this book, and this isn't really a spoiler because it's basically announced within the first few pages, chapters kind of thing, so it's pretty close to the start. The main character, Felix, actually ends up dying and is reincarnated into another world. Or that is what the premise puts forward. Whether that's the case, I don't know. It's actually got a bit of subtle hints that maybe he might not be dead, or maybe he is, and it is left open to interpretation, and I've just realised I've gone into a bit of a spoiler there, so there will be a spoiler just before this one. I've already got that excited. Anyway, he finds himself in this new world, but he's not the only person there from his world, as well as it actually states on the back. There's actually thousands of people like him. This is a new world of reincarnations, so what happened to the original inhabitants? I don't know. and the book hasn't actually gone into that one just yet. So it's going to be interesting to find out how that actually goes along. Now, the book isn't just about Felix as well, the main character. It's actually also about his family left behind, as we also heard on the back. He actually has a sister who was actually left behind in the real world. Now, the first book itself actually mainly concentrates on Felix, with a few chapters dedicated to his sister's point of view and her feelings. Now, the book itself is very well written. Now, it's not 100% perfect. As I said, he is a self-published author and he's had the editing done by himself and his immediate family. So there's no professional editing gone in there. So while the book, as I said, is well written, I did find the occasional mistakes in the book in the editing process. So maybe a few lines didn't quite go together quite well, and I think I found a couple of misspellings or the wrong word put in here and there, but nothing that actually broke my concentration or actually took me out of my immersion into the storyline. Now, I come across these in professionally edited books as well, so by now my brain has automatically gone into the correcting it into the right kind of way of reading. And I think most people who read on a regular basis also come across this themselves, and their brain automatically adjusts and corrects minor mistakes they find in books. As I said, this is something you find in professionally edited books as well as books that are self-edited and self-published. So in my opinion, it doesn't take away from the accomplishments and the writing of this book. I did find myself reading a paragraph once or twice every now and again, but I think that was more down to my personal tiredness when I was reading the book compared to the actual writing itself. Overall, I would give this book a 3.5 to 4 out of 5. It is really good, and I'm looking forward to reading his second published book, which I actually have on my shelf behind me. I'm actually going to be waiting a month or two before I get into that one. The reason for that one is I did get immersed into this one and I read it in a couple of days, which is about average for myself when I really enjoy a light novel. Now, I didn't want to go straight into the second book like I do with some, and the reason for that one is I want to do a review on that one as well. So I've decided to leave it a couple of months, as I said, then I'll pick that one up and I'll see how easy it was to follow on if you left it to like a normal kind of publishing amount. So light novels, they tend to come out between 3 to 6 months apart, or they do when they've been published and they've been translated in advance. I'm not quite sure on his current publishing schedule, so I'll have to have a look into that one. But I want to see how it comes to reading a book, leaving it a few months, and then how easy it is to pick up the second book and get immersed into it and get the storyline brought back. Now myself, I read this one currently about 3 weeks ago now, and it's still fresh in my mind, which is a good positive. It's saying that the story itself kept me hooked enough that I want to remember it, and I want to remember it for the next book when I start reading it. Now, that's a few good and bad points. As I said, there was a couple of editing issues, but the storyline was written well enough that it kept me hooked, so it didn't actually matter, and it kept me immersed enough that I enjoyed it. Now, light novels aren't just about the actual writing as well. They're actually also well known for the pictures they do themselves throughout the books to actually show what is happening. Now, as I said, the author has actually done all the artwork himself as well. Now, how is his artwork? It's not bad. It's not the best I've seen in a light novel, but it's not actually the worst as well. I'd say it is probably slightly below average for what you'd get for a professional artist that spends all their time actually designing and doing artwork. I think as he gets better, his artwork will improve. Now, I actually follow the author on Instagram. I'll leave a link in the description below so you can actually go and have a look at his artwork. And it's actually been improving over the months that I've been following him, and so I've got high hopes. And after speaking to him, after saying I'd read his first book, he's actually shared that he's actually improved some of the actual artwork in this book, and he will be doing a new version of it with his updated artwork for it. Now, what is the artwork like for you to see? Now, I thought I'd give two examples of this one. The first one is this one. As you can see, it's very simplistic and very straightforward. Now, the reason I wanted to give this one is I thought the kind of style that this author has and this artist has is very reminiscent of how a realist hero rebuilt the kingdom. And let me just grab the book for you and give an example. Now, as I said, it's not up to like the professional artwork of people who do this for a living, but here is an example of how a realist hero built a kingdom. Now, you can see the difference in it. What I mean by it shares similarities is it's very straight lined, very simplistic, but it gets over the artwork. Now, I think as he improves, we should hopefully start to see more kind of artwork to that kind of level for the how a realist hero built a kingdom compared to his current level. But I think that is a learning process that he'll be going through as he publishes and does other art as he moves forward. Now, other than that, there are areas where his artwork just doesn't quite come together in my opinion. But these are things that he's actually admitted to and says he needs to actually work on that particular kind of art style. So an example of that one would be this one. Now, the character in the foreground is actually quite well done. That is actually the sister, and the back picture is Felix. Now, as you can see, the art isn't perfect. There's a few issues where I think it's around his kind of legs where they just look too stock still, so you can't see enough kind of movement or enough kind of accentuation of like his knees or anything like that. So it's just a bit too rigid. So hopefully he will be improving on that, and he will be making it a bit more fluid in his future kind of artwork, which I am looking forward to see. As I said, I do follow him on Instagram, and he has been making great strides in his artwork, and I can't wait to see his future publications. So as I said, while he hasn't got the perfect art style, it is actually improving, and I look forward to seeing his future content. Now, does it distract away from the book itself? No. Artwork is more the secondary kind of nature to a light novel, so while it isn't perfect and while it is still improving, it doesn't actually bring down the actual artwork itself. Now, he also has a kind of chibi style as well. Now, chibi, that if you don't know what it is more a cartoon kind of version of your artwork, and he has that on the actual back. Here we go. Now, it's only actually used on the back of the actual book, and that is actually a scene out of the book itself. And to be fair, I really love his chibi kind of art style, and I would love to see that incorporated actually into the book itself. Maybe as a incorporation of a serious picture with a thought of a chibi kind of thing in his head as he's doing something, or sort of like in a box, kind of like a serious picture there, and then people reacting into like a chibi kind of style in sort of like a you know, like you get the like an explosion kind of thing, like all the jagged edges, and then the pictures in it show people's surprise reaction kind of thing. So that kind of thing I think could work with his art style really well. Now, as I said, I rated this book a 3.5 to 4. I completely got tongue-tied there. So as I said, I rated this book a 3.5 to 4 out of 5. I'm looking forward to seeing his future content on this actual story. It's left it with enough of a cliffhanger that I'm actually looking forward to seeing what happens, and I can't wait to get into the next book and future books as well. He's built a world that is immersive and has good character designs of characters you both want to root for and characters you just don't like, and I can't wait to see how they grow as individuals and how they actually develop in the actual story. Anyway, that's probably enough for my review today. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you'd like to comment below if you've read this book or you planning on picking this one up, I would love to know. Please also let me know what you think to my reviewing format. I am still pretty new to this one, so I am looking to make improvements on how I do them. So is the kind of format kind of breakdown you want? So would you like me to talk about specific things in a specific order kind of thing, stuff that I've missed? And I will try and incorporate it into future reviews, because at the moment I am very much winging it, if I'm honest. It's what comes to my mind as I'm talking, because I want to try and be as natural as possible, so hopefully you get my sort of honest and true feelings to the book. Now, without further ado, I'll be signing off for now, so I look forward to seeing you in future videos. Bye for now, everybody.